Cloud aufzeichnen.
Okay.
Well, I never had a bad beer in Germany.
Here are some bad beers.
Probably because you get Bavarian beers all over Germany.
Okay, yeah.
But actually, a lot of beers are becoming the same. Carlsberg is owning most of the companies for the pills.
Well, the pills are great. I'm a lager pills guy. I'm not much of the other stuff, but yeah, I do like that.
Then Munich is
CrossFit coach doesn't like a good beer.
Cool. Oh, Mr. Petzold is there. Let him in. Yeah, so the plan is Lisa will just do a short introduction after we just let all people in, and then we start with the question and answer.
Okay, good. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully I can help you guys out as much as I can.
We are looking forward to it. I'm sure you can. Cool. Very, very cool. I met your daughter a long time ago when I was young in Hawaii. Shortly after when she left Italy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I had two of my kids were both stationed in Hawaii.
Okay.
And in the Navy, and they would like to go back there.
Yeah, it's a wonderful place.
Yeah, I would like for them to go back there as well, so I can come and visit.
That makes sense.
Aye.
And with Bo, I had both seminars, level 1 and level 2.
Oh, okay.
Which I still think it's a pity that, but I guess this is something for later. It's a pity that's not included in the CrossFit system anymore, because I think it's too stuck together just to separate it.
Well, that was Glassman's thing, and you know he wanted to shorten the CrossFit specialty courses, and so you know we knew it was going to happen, so we prepared, and we just call it Burgener Strength. It's the same information, you know, it's the same course, the same curriculum. It just isn't called CrossFit Weightlifting.
Yep.
But now we've aligned ourselves also with CrossFit Mayhem, Rich Froning in that group, and it's going to be called CrossFit Mayhem Burgener Strength. And we're going to do a lot of programming with that. But the courses that we have are all under the Burgener Strength model, which is the same curriculum and everything as CrossFit Weightlifting was.
Sorry, I'm a little bit distracted at the moment because I forgot just to make the co-host. No, I did.
Got to put my glasses on so I can see you guys. They're called geezer glasses. When you get old, you can't see up close. I don't know what the German word for geezer would be, but it's just an old man.
Yeah. I tried to translate this.
Nice.
I couldn't find a translation for German.
Yeah.
What is it? I don't know what it is.
Kreis.
Kreis? Yeah.
Ah.
Aber ein bisschen fies, oder?
Yeah.
Klingt
Yeah,
schon
just say geezer, and then you know what it is.
But geezer is nicer than Kreis, so we stick to geezer.
Well, I deserve the bad that I can get, you know.
I think I saw your son in Portugal, and he gave the seminar in CrossFit Borland. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, I was there when they opened up.
Oh, okay.
Very
Yeah.
nice place. Yeah.
Yeah. I've actually done a course in that box, and it was a lot of fun. It was a great course. I like Portugal. I think it's a great area.
Yeah, I love it. I love it too.
Slowly, the numbers are going up. Okay, and down.
They're just shocked.
Oh, ist das ganze Ding auf Englisch? Oh.
Yeah, it is in English. Ja, es ist in Deutsch, genau. Ja, Englisch, ja. Someone was complaining, Mike, that this thing is in English now. You can start with German afterwards. I mean, that makes it easier for them.
No,
I wish I could speak
English.
German. I love
Wiedersehen.
the language.
Tag auf Wiedersehen. Yes.
That's it. I guess wie geht's, right? That's the shortened term. And I think Fräulein, Frau, whatever.
Richtig.
Let's see. If someone wants to say something, then just let your mic on. Otherwise, please switch it off. Thank you.
Muted.
Genau. Schauen wir mal ein bisschen drüber, dass wir die muten. Ich will die nicht generell muten. Sonst die Interaktion beibehalten. Just to make it interactive, just leave it like it is now. Cool. Very nice.
I like that workout that you got going on in the background there, Raul.
Sorry?
Background, you got that workout going on. Is that a video in the background?
It is. It is a video in the background. Yes.
That looks outstanding.
This is the backyard of my box.
Wow, that's awesome.
Thank you. But it's not as close as famous as your Mike's gym.
My gym is, I don't know what it would be in meters, but it's only 600 square feet. So it's not very big. It's a 2-car garage, but it's got 4 platforms in it.
Awesome. Unbelievable. I mean. Let's see. So let's wait 2 more minutes and then we just start on this. What do you think, Lisa?
Yep.
Cool. Because it goes ding, 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 ding. Yes. But we are all very, very excited, Mike, just to have you here on the call. Believe me, my hands are still shaking. You see them? Because you're so famous.
You better wait until you hear my answers. Maybe they won't like me afterwards.
I don't know. So Annette is asking several times just to come in. Also nice. Cool. 1 more minute and then we start. Sven's iPad, please switch off the mic. Annette. Hey, hey.
Na, alles flott, ihr Lieben?
Alles im grünen Bereich.
Ja, das ist gut.
Wir warten noch einen Augenblick, haben wir gesagt, bis alle die Letzten mit dabei sind und dann legen wir los. Dann macht Lisa die Introduction. Genau.
Bin auch schnell aus dem Kurs rausgerannt.
Ja, ich habe Mike auch schon gesagt, dass wir alle ganz aufgeregt sind. Also ich bin immer noch ganz, ich glaube, das merkt man, shaky. Was wir da haben, das ist ja echt toll. Und nice guys. Gut, Lisa.
All right.
Your turn.
I think everybody in this chat already knows who you are, and I don't think anybody, maybe one person that I met on this chat earlier, has actually done the CrossFit weightlifting cert or preferred cert without having contact with one of the Burgeners, because you made it kind of like from your name, you made it like a family thing to teach weightlifting all over the world. And you now went from the CrossFit Preferred program to Burgener Strength, as you just told us already. And I think somebody needs to. I think that everybody can learn a lot from getting better at weightlifting for the whole CrossFit career, because it's one of the big things. And I read that it's also the most visited preferred course from people after the level 1, maybe the level 2, but they all want to do the weightlifting certs. And I think it's safe to say that you started this and that you made CrossFit and weightlifting much closer.
Thank you.
So everybody, put your questions into the chat so we can ask them for you, and you can keep your mics off unless you want to interrupt and correct me or correct us if we got a message wrong, just so that we only have one person talking at a time.
Can we have everybody turn on their video so I can see who I'm talking to?
Yes, there's more faces. Zeigt euch!
Oh, there they come. They were afraid.
Here we go.
There's still a lot of black boxes.
Es fügt sich langsam.
Nicht verstecken, alle bitte Video an.
Moin.
All right, if we scroll through the pages, we actually have a lot of pictures. And we have the first question for you. Jens is asking, which are the biggest benefits that both sports, weightlifting and CrossFit, have from each other? Like, what's the biggest benefit that weightlifting can earn from CrossFit and CrossFit from weightlifting?
Well, okay, first of all, let me just verify a couple things. You know, I'm not an expert in anything. I just want you guys to know that everything that I talk with you about is simply my own opinion. I'm 74 years of age, and I've been around the world a couple times, so I've got some experience. But the bottom line is that everything that I talk with you guys about, it's not etched in stone. There's no scientific background to it. It's just my experiences of being a coach and a physical education teacher for 32, 33 years and being a coach for 50 years. So just, I want you to understand that at the start of everything. Thanks a lot for having me on. I really appreciate it. I'm very humbled by it. I enjoy doing these kind of things to be able to share my philosophy and my family's philosophy on what the Olympic lifts are all about. When people ask me that question about CrossFit and weightlifting, first of all, I'm not a CrossFit coach. I'm an Olympic weightlifting coach. So I've had to grow as a coach. When Coach Glassman called me on and asked me to be part of the program, I really had to learn a lot about being able to do accessory work other than just snatching, clean and jerking, and front squatting. And I guess in my philosophy, when I worked with Olympic athletes, I would always snatch them, clean and jerk them, front squat them, and then I'd work their weaknesses. But I had to learn that with CrossFit, you know, the two lifts, the snatch and the clean and jerk, are only going to be part of the big program. And Glassman really very much believed that the Olympic lifts were the epitome of what a good athlete or even a great athlete should be able to do. And he felt that if a person could snatch, clean and jerk, and front squat, they could do all the other things as well. You know, and that's pretty much what I've held my hat on, is I've had to understand that, you know, the snatch and clean and jerk and the squat are all part of CrossFit. But if you look at the last CrossFit Games, you know, there's a whole lot of other stuff that goes on besides snatching and clean and jerking and front squatting. But if you snatch, clean and jerk, and front squat, it's going to train your body in such a manner that I think it's going to be able to protect you from potential injury. And it's going to make you a much better and a more explosive athlete in the exercises that you have to do. So I believe in my world of being a parent, my kids, my children were never required to weightlifting contests unless they wanted to, but they had to participate in sport. They had to do something. And then what we added is that you had to do the Olympic lifts because we felt that that was the best exercise to protect them from potential injury in sport. So that's kind of been my philosophy in the CrossFit world as well. You know, we want to snatch, clean and jerk, and front squat, but you have to work all those other accessory exercises that CrossFit has to compete at the games. But the Olympic lifts, in my opinion, are going to allow you to be much more powerful and explosive in whatever events that, you know, that Castro puts up on the board.
Speaking of kids, Raul would like to know at which age kids should start lifting.
Well, my son was using the hook grip when he was about 3 months old, you know, so obviously they're not going to, you know, we always had our kids out in the gym. And even when they were in babies and in the little strollers or bassinets, we had them in the gym so they'd get used to the loud noises and people screaming and dropping the weights and being excited about a new record. So they grew up in the gym. So when Sage, I use Sage all the time. When Sage was about 2 years old, we had a dog that was called Two Socks. And the dog would be outside and she'd be outside playing with the dog. And then she'd run in the gym and take PVC pipe and snatch it and clean and jerk it and throw it on the ground and yell out, "Yeah!" at 2 years old. And then she would run back out and play with Two Socks. So it was, you know, we never forced them to be out there, but that's where they wanted to be because mom and dad were out there. We tried to lead by example. We didn't make them do anything, but if they were going to do sport, which they had to do something, if they wanted to do the marching band, that was fine too, but they would have had to lift weights so that they could carry the drums or the big horns or whatever around. The weightlifting was going to protect their body from potential injury. So what's the right age? When they're ready. You know, some kids are ready early. Sage, I think, lifted in her first weightlifting contest when she was 6 years old. So it just depends. You know, we teach them right technique. PVC pipe is our go-to implement. They can all do the Burgener warm-up and the skill transfer exercises. We all start with that, you know, and make sure that they can do it properly.
Okay, so now kind of like a heavy question. If you were talking to the younger self, like from when you started, which are the top 3 things you would like to tell a very young Mike Burgener starting to teach people how to weightlift?
Well, my father was a coal miner and a dairy farmer. And so for him, I wanted to lift weights at a very young age. So for him, though, weightlifting would make you muscle bound. So, but he didn't understand the Olympic lifts. But to get back to your question, I would tell my dad, I wish I would have listened to you more, except when it came to training and lifting weights. If I would have listened to him a lot more, I probably wouldn't have got myself in as much trouble as I did.
And what would you tell yourself?
And then I would tell my mom, thank you for being there for me. And I would probably go back and tell my sisters, I'm sorry for treating them so poorly. They were younger sisters.
And for coaches development to yourself, what you know now, what you probably didn't know 50 years ago?
You know, I was blessed. I obviously didn't know anything 50 years ago, but you know, I had good training. My coach, I played football at the university, American football at the university. And I had a coach there by the name of Father Lang, who was a Catholic priest. And Father Lang took me under his belt and taught me how to snatch. Back then it was the clean and press, snatch and clean and jerk. There were 3 lifts. And Father Lang taught me how to do those. And then he kind of made me the assistant coach of the university's weightlifting team. So I learned at a very early age the proper way to be a coach, and it was under the mentorship of Father Lang. So I've been really blessed by having some real strong role models and leaders. And plus, I was in the military. I was a United States Marine. And so we learned what discipline and hard work was, you know, in the Marine Corps. So I think I took that back into the classroom. And when I was a teacher, a physical education teacher, and so my upbringing has been brought up with some very strong role models and mentors that allowed me to step over into that journey of being I think a very good coach.
Okay. You mentioned the Burgener warm-up earlier that everybody's doing, and I think we all do it before weightlifting sessions with our members. So how did you come up with it and when? Yeah,
well, that's a pretty good story because I came up with that warm-up when I was a student at university. I did 10 exercises. They didn't have a name though. We just would warm up before every workout. We have our weightlifting team there, and we came up with this warm up that was very specific to weightlifting, but we didn't have a name for it. And so when CrossFit came to me and asked me to put on a seminar for their coaches, Coach Glassman asked me, he says, well, what is the name of that warm up you got? Because that's a great warm up. And I said, well, coach, we don't have a name for it. We just do it every day. And he says, you do it before every workout? And I said, yeah, I don't care what the workout is. I make my students do it every day. There's 3 things that they have to do. Number 1, they have to get loosened up. They have to warm up. The second thing they have to do the junkyard dog. And then the third thing they have to do the Burgener warm up and the skill transfer exercises. That's the 3 things that they do every day, regardless of the workout. Well, what if I'm doing, Fran? Every day, coach, every single day, we do that Burgener warm-up. And he says, well, what's the name of it again? And I said, it's not a name. I don't have a name. So my daughter, Sage, said, Daddy, why don't you call it the Burgener warm-up? And that was in like 2005. And I said, okay, yeah, it's called the Burgener warm-up. We had no name for it. There's a Burgener warm-up. But the other 5 exercises were called the skill transfer exercises. So we just named them in 2005. We named it the Burgener warm-up and the skill transfer exercises.
And 15 years later, the whole world is doing the Burgener warm-up.
It's crazy. But see, they don't do it every day, and that's it. You got to do it every single day, especially with your beginners.
Yeah.
I mean, my son, Casey, was an Olympian, and he did the Burgener warm-up every day. Sage, every day. Regardless of the workout, they do it. It's a good warm-up. I've got my grandkids are over here right now, and they do the Burgener warm-up with the PVC pipe. They know how to do it. So, You just make it part of their programming. And the junkyard dog is a jumping exercise, and jumping makes one more explosive. So the Olympic lifts, the junkyard dog is a great before we do the Burgener warm-up, it's a great exercise to move right in from there, the Burgener warm-up.
Nice. You mentioned your connection with Greg Glassman quite a bit by now. I mean, it's like obvious. But when was your first, and how did you first come into contact with CrossFit and Coach Glassman?
Yeah, 2004 or 5, 2004 maybe. I used to do coaching courses for USA Weightlifting at my school. And so we do these courses, and Glassman called weightlifting up, and they said, we want to do a course at Coach Burgener's gym, which was my high school. We want to do a course at Coach Burgener's gym. I want to bring down 20 athletes down to his gym, and we want to do the USA Club Coaches course. So he came down with 20 athletes, and he had Greg Amundsen, he had a lot of really strong athletes, CrossFit athletes in the beginning. Josh Everett, all these guys were here, Annie Sakamoto. And so after we did the course, he called me up and asked me if I would go with him to Golden, Colorado to put on a seminar with the Colorado police and military personnel from the Army and the Navy and the Marine Corps. And I said, sure, I'll go out there with you. And so went out to Colorado, and I did 3-hour segment of the Burgener warm-up and the skill transfer exercises and the junkyard dog. That's what I did. And then a week later, he called me up and he says, we're gonna start doing these seminars once a month. We're gonna do them in Santa Cruz, California. And we want you to come up and teach weightlifting just like you did in Colorado. So every month I would drive. I had a Harley Davidson motorcycle. I'd take my motorcycle and drive it up to Santa Cruz, and I'd do a 3-hour segment on the Burgener warm-up and the skill transfer exercises and the junkyard dog. And he paid me really well. I couldn't believe I was making money for something that I love so much. So a year later, we did that for 1 year. A year later, he brought me into his office and he says, we're going to go a different direction, and we're going to have you run CrossFit weightlifting. You're going to schedule all the courses. We're going to collect all the money, but we're going to pay you 80% of all the monies that are collected. But you're going to schedule all your courses. And I kind of laughed at him. I said, well, thanks, coach. That's good. But no one's going to want to sign up for these coaching courses. They're just not going to be very interested if they're not part of CrossFit. And he says, nah, you wait and see. And so the first year we did 5 courses, and every one of them sold out at 60 in a course. And I forget what he charged. I think he charged like $500 or $600. But that first year, I did 5 courses. I scheduled them myself, did 5 courses, and I made $50,000, and I couldn't believe it. I mean, that's more money I've ever made coaching, doing anything. So that's basically how it started. And then from 2006, 7, we started doing the courses, and then not until last year when he wanted to switch over from the subject matter expert courses to strictly CrossFit only type courses, which were CrossFit Kids in the level 1, 2, 3s, and 4s. And then we are still, even with Burgener Strength, we're still a preferred course of CrossFit. So that's basically the way it started. It was, I mean, I was blessed. I was 62 years old when this all happened. And I have never been paid a nickel for coaching ever until CrossFit. And then CrossFit really, they really just kind of took care of all the things. And I just did what I knew best, and that's teach Olympic style weightlifting to all these different CrossFitters. It just took off like fire. It was amazing.
And throughout all these years of teaching these courses, is there like a favorite story, the funniest moment or something that you remember that you will never forget?
Oh God. Oh yeah. I think the funniest thing that I ever did was when the very first course I did, I walked in to a group of Navy SEALs, Marine Force Recon guys, Highway Patrol, Colorado Highway Patrolmen, and I put them with PVC pipe in their hands, and not one person could do an overhead squat. Not one. And I about crapped my pants. I couldn't believe it. I'm going, oh my God, am I in trouble? So, that's the way it started. And now you can't find anybody. A lot of these guys are snatching 150 kilos and clean and jerking 200 kilos now. I mean, it's crazy. But starting out, I had Navy SEALs, Marine Special Forces guys. No one could do an overhead squat with PVC pipe. And I'm going, oh my God, am I in trouble? What did I get myself into? So, but we worked through it. And at the end of the day, they couldn't believe that I kicked their butts with PVC pipe. They didn't lift one weight. All they did was lift with PVC pipe, and they couldn't believe how hard it was. Because I made them get down in those positions that were really tough, and I made them hold it there. And then they'd be in an overhead squat about halfway down, and then I would say stuff, who's your favorite coach? I'd make them stay down there, and then they have to yell Coach Burgener. And if they didn't yell Coach Burgener, then I'd make them stay down there longer.
Maybe that's how everybody learned your name and knows your name by now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So just like we are shut down by government orders, there are a lot of gyms around the world. Do you know anything about how the online courses are being held? I don't think.
Well, just like this, there's Zoom courses. They're a great course, because just like if I was teaching you the Burgener warm-up right now, I would be on screen, and then you guys would be over here, in your gallery, and we would be watching you do the Burgener warm-up. And then I'd say, okay, Lisa, your shoulders need to be over the bar. You're too far ahead of the bar. So you get a lot of one-on-one coaching there, but you don't get the hands-on. I mean, it's always obviously much better to be in a gym where, myself and my coaches can come by and we can actually show you and model for you what we want you to do by using hands-on. It's a much better course. But if you've not been in tune to the Burgener warm-up or the skill transfer exercises or how to teach those things, then the online course is better than nothing. And if you sign up for an online course and then later you want to get the hands-on course, I mean, I think Bo gives you a major discount for doing the hands-on course. So it's not I don't think it's as productive as the hands-on course. But if I wanted to get a good background for how to teach the Olympic lifts to a beginner, then I think it's dynamite. I think it's very good.
Okay, that's the beginners. And then somebody's asking, it was overheard at the Rogue Invitational that you had a lot of comments on Chandler Smith's technique. And the question is, did he ever contact you about it? And yeah. And how hard is it to go to one of the really great athletes that are pretty much, they have their own technique. They have it in their muscle memory. They probably have not the greatest technique. Can they still learn? Are they still receptive to coaching cues?
Well, it's okay. So here, somebody calls me up and says, we want you to work with Steiner, the 2008 Olympic champion from Germany, right? And I see that Steiner's got a slight elbow bend when he pulls on the bar. what am I going to say to Steiner? You know, I'm going to say, good job. You're a gold medal winner. You're good job. You know, you're outstanding. So it's the same thing with Chandler. Chandler is extremely strong. He's got a great background in athletics. He was a wrestler in high school and college. But he's one of the most humble persons that I've ever met. So I had an opportunity to spend 2 days with him at the CrossFit Mayhem in Tennessee at Froning's Box. And he was very open to our coaching. And I just told him, I said, you know, Chandler, you're very strong. You're very good. You've got great numbers. I'm not going to tell you that you have to do this or you have to do that. But his comment to me was, Coach, I want you to tell me. I want to get better. And he was very humbled by it. And I will tell you that I don't think that I have met anybody in the CrossFit world that isn't up for some kind of positive critique. I mean, it may not be very positive, but they want the information and they want to know how they can get better. And so, you know, it's like, you know, Rich Froning has got this big arm bend where he pulls the bar into his hips. But when he gets involved in that third pull, when he's pulling himself under, or he goes right into that big second full extension pull, his arms go back to being straight until he pulls himself under the bar. And I couldn't change him. I would not change him, because if I spent the time changing him, that would be unproductive time for him in the snatch and clean and jerk. And the guy's snatching 140 anyway. I mean, how much better does he need to be than that? He doesn't need to be, for his sport of CrossFit, he doesn't need to be any better. Now, if he's going to go to the Olympic Games and he needs to snatch 180, then that's a whole different story. But for his sport of CrossFit, and he's a team competitor, he's fine where he is. And Chandler's the same way. Chandler will get better. He'll take the information that we have and he'll help him. But, you know, that was pretty ugly what he was doing, but he's extremely strong and he's a wonderful, wonderful person. Very humble.
Okay. And technique aside, somebody is a good lifter, but they have kind of like this mental blockage. I don't know if it's triple digit. It's just that next big number and they're mentally not ready to actually do that lift. Do you have some, I don't know, magic trick? Maybe not tell them how much is on the bar or something like that.
Yeah, that's, you know, every trick there is, I've probably done everything known to mankind to get somebody to lift more weights. And I had an athlete that bombed out of a snatch at a contest with 150 kilos. And the reason he bombed out, his mother was in the stands right in front of him. And as he was lifting the weight, the mother stood up and yelled, Adam, I hope you don't get hurt. The mother said that right before he lifted, right? And I about had a heart attack, you know, I couldn't believe it. But it took Adam 1 year almost to the day before he could snatch 150 kilos again. And it was right here. It was right between the ears. And, you know, we did everything. We took him to 149 and he could snatch it. He could do 2 reps with 149, but if I put 150 on the bar, couldn't do it. If I put 151, obviously he couldn't do it. I go back down to 149, it'd make it easy. But it was that number, and it took him a year to work it out. And everything that I did, everything that I said, it just didn't work. It finally had to work from him. When he finally got it, he went out in front of the gym and he ended up crying for about a half an hour. He was so happy. And after that, he ended up snatching 160. So he just had to get past that number. And, you know, I always tell people 90% of all missed lifts, in my opinion, are because of something to do with the feet, footwork. But the other part of it is the same thing with the mind. If you're not strong in the head, then you're going to have a hard time, you know, lifting those heavy weights.
All right, and then Jens wanted to know that in traditional weightlifting clubs, you're usually not deadlifting because, as the trainers say, it's messing up your start position. How do you feel about deadlifts? Because they're like inevitable in CrossFit.
I love it. I love deadlifts. I think deadlifts are a great strength exercise. I think that, you know, you can do them aside from the weightlifting, but in weightlifting for me, we do clean deadlifts and we do snatch deadlifts. And the reason we do them is that we don't lift to max there like a normal deadlift would be, because I think it's two different techniques. But a clean and a snatch deadlift will use maybe 5 or 10 kilos more than their best snatch. So let's say I have an athlete that snatches 182 kilos, then the most I'd ever have him do snatch deadlifts would be probably 200 kilos, and that's about it. And he could probably do 250 or 260 easily, but not with good technique, not the same technique off the ground that is required. So we use snatch deadlifts, but only maybe 10% more, 10, 15 kilos more than they best snatches. So I like deadlifts, but I also like snatch and clean deadlifts, but I do like powerlifting deadlifts just as a way to get the body strong.
And is there any, I don't know, recommendation, any advice you could give to masters athletes? Obviously, they're like maybe not as mobile anymore, or they're losing a little bit of explosiveness.
Yeah, no, I think, you know, you just walk into the room and leave your ego at the door. You know, I'm 74 years of age and I can't snatch what I used to snatch. I can't clean and jerk what I used to clean and jerk, but that's okay. At least I can, if I can snatch PVC pipe and go through the movements, that's fine. But most of my geezers that I work with, they do the split snatch, split clean. It's a little bit easier. It's the same pull, but it's a little bit easier for them to get that torso in a straight up and down position out of the split or that lunge than it is being in a squat. So we just switch them over to the split snatch and the split clean, and it works very nicely for them.
Awesome. Somebody wants to go back to your relationship with Glassman and how it developed over the years, and maybe how it is now that he pulled out of the CrossFit game a little bit.
Well, in the very beginning, when we first started, Glassman gave me his phone number and I could call him anytime that I wanted. About 2 years into the program, he took the phone number away from me. And I couldn't get a hold of him. You would probably have a better chance of getting a hold of him than I did. The only time he ever wanted to get a hold of me if I did something wrong and he was going to yell at me. But basically, you know, I thank Coach Glassman for everything that he gave the Burgeners. I mean, I'm very blessed to have been part of the CrossFit world, but I haven't seen him. Really, I haven't seen him in probably since the CrossFit Games at Madison, Wisconsin last year, and I didn't see him, but from afar. But I know his wife. And his wife was a classmate of my son, Bo's. And so her name is Maggie, and she came up to me and said hello. And Glassman just kind of waved to me like that, and that was it. But I'll be forever grateful for everything that he gave the Burgeners and what we've had because of CrossFit.
So since you like the junkyard dog warm up with all the jumping so much, I kind of have an idea what the answer to the next question is, because Ralph wants to know why burpees are such a big part in the Burgener seminars or are associated.
That's a great question, because burpees are one of my favorite exercises, right? So I love burpees, but as a school teacher, as a teacher to my kids, I had to make sure that they were paying attention to me. Now I had 15, 16, and 17-year-old kids in my classroom. I was only supposed to have 30 in a class, but I had 60 in a class, right? So you know how kids are, 15, 16, and 17. So a lot of times they wouldn't pay attention. So I had this rule that anytime that I said the word burpee, it didn't matter when I said burpee, anytime I said burpee, they had to yell out, "Yay, burpees." And as a class, if they didn't yell out, yay, burpees, I made the whole class do burpees. So the principal would come by my class and he'd hear me say burpees, and then the whole class would go, yay, burpees. But it was just my way of making sure that they paid attention when I was lecturing them. And I wanted them to pay attention. Kids like to goof around. They like to, punch each other and do all this other stuff. But if they did that in my class, the motivational consequence was burpees. So that's what I used.
All right. Jens is coming back to the split snatches. They have an athlete that just has horrible shoulder mobility, and he's wondering if he should just switch him over to split snatches, keep working on the mobility, and hopefully one day get back to squat snatching. But
absolutely. Yeah, and there's a way to teach that too at the very beginning. Think in terms of this. So you have a PVC pipe on your back, right? Take your snatch grip, and you're standing straight up and down, and I want you to step out in a very long lunge with your right leg, and as you're stepping out, press the weight overhead. Now this is just with a PVC pipe or a wooden dowel. And then bring your trail leg up and put the PVC pipe on your back, and then go left leg, step and press. Right leg up, and then you just do walking lunges, and every time you step out there, press the weight overhead. And each time that you go out, sink down a little bit farther, but your torso is more upright and your back leg is slightly bent, but that allows those hips to come more underneath the torso, and it keeps the torso upright, and so that mobility in the shoulders are not compromised. But they have to get used to that. And so you want to start them out doing that exercise first, so they get the confidence of that split action. And then from there, we have a Burgener warm-up using the split. So you have the down and finish, you have the elbows high and outside, you have the muscle snatch, but what you don't have is the snatch lands. That PVC pipe was over your head now, and in the snatch lands, we had you go down 2 inches, 4 inches, 6 inches. We took that out. We just had the PVC pipe over your head, and now you drop straight into the split. So that is the Burgener warm-up for the split action. And when we give that to the older people or people that have had knee injuries or shoulder issues, they adjust with it really well. It's a great tool. And the pull is exactly the same. The difference is that the bar's got to go a little bit higher because it takes longer for the athlete to get underneath it. It's not as efficient as the squat style, but it's a good exercise for your geezers and anybody that's got shoulder issues or knee issues. It's a good way to go.
Somebody was asking earlier if you could elaborate on the internal torque theory of Julien Pineau, especially on the snatch.
Well, it's Julien Pineau. Are you familiar? Did you mention him in there?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Strong fit. I'll tell you what. Now, I'm not a very smart person. I'm basically a dumbass, is what I am. But it is what it is. And so, what I've always taught, overhead positioning, you should be externally rotated, and that means I'm going to show you my armpits, and the crook of my arm is going to be elevated towards the sky. And I've had a great deal of success teaching that methodology. All my athletes, I had an athlete that could snatch 182 kilos, 185 kilos without any issues. And that is what we use. When I met Julien tried to convince me that we wanted to be internally rotated slightly. And I argued with him. I said, no, I don't believe that. I believe that we're externally rotated and we push up hard through the bar. And I talked to Kelly Starrett about this. And Kelly assured me that I was on the right track, that I'd been doing it the right way. Well, then about 2 years ago, I had a chance to go down and talk with Julian at length. And so he put a PVC pipe in my hand and he said, Coach, let's see you be externally rotated. So I was externally rotated. And he says, now I want you to resist me. So I was externally rotated and he took the bar and he pushed it back. Now he pushed it back fairly hard, but he pushed it back, but the bar went back. He says, now what I want you to do is I want you to externally rotate and I want you to try to break the bar. So I call that internal torque. And I said, okay, so I'm going to externally rotate, but you want me to break the bar. So I had this PVC pipe and there became a bend in the PVC pipe that put me in the most strongest position that I have ever felt in my life. So I switched. I mean, I was 72 at the time, you know, so old dogs can learn new tricks. And all Julian did was take me and put me in a position that I understood. And that breaking the bar, you know, externally rotate, coach, but break the bar creates internal torque. So I went back and rewrote my curriculum for bringing in you know, internal torque. I think he's a genius. I thought that was, he could take a guy like me and who's stubborn and get me to change when I'm 72. The guy knows what he's talking about. He's one of the best coaches I've ever met.
That's a big compliment. Speaking of other coaches, you've been running these seminars for 15 years now. What's the biggest mistake that you see the coaches do, especially the ones coming from CrossFit trying to teach weightlifting?
I don't think they study enough educationally. I don't think they look at enough videos. I mean, my wife thinks I'm nuts because, you know, at 74, I'll be in the computer room looking at YouTube videos of Tatiana and all these other great lifters and trying to study different things that I see, because every athlete, the Chinese are one way, the Russians are another way, the Germans are another way, the Poles are another way. So I try to study them all and then bring it together and take a little bit out of each thing to give cues to athletes to get them to do what I need to get them to do. There's not just one cue. The best cue is the one that works. So that if there's 100 cues that you have in your toolbox, you're going to find one that's going to work for that athlete. I mean, I might be able to take you, Lisa, and take, you know, Peter down here and give you the same cues and you get it, but Peter doesn't. So I've got to find the cue that works for Peter. I can't just keep using the same cue and have him not understand it. And so as a coach, I have to study and really come up with different ways of teaching the same methodology so my athletes understand what I'm talking about.
You're just getting a compliment here, saying that you being able to admit a mistake at 72 years old, when you found out that maybe a little bit of internal rotation is a great thing, is proof that you truly are one of the best coaches in the world, because you're still coachable, I guess.
Hey, can you tell my wife that?
Sure. Like, we can do several tests. I can call your wife. You can give me Greg Glassman's number and I'll see if he answers my calls. Like, there's a lot.
He won't answer I'm not sure I'll ever see Glassman again, actually.
Yeah. I think we've all have seen the most of him. Like,
yeah,
he's enjoying his life right now, which is a good thing.
Yep.
Again, Jens is asking, which of the styles, Chinese, Russian weightlifting, had the most influence on you and your coaching, and who are the best lifters in the world? Let's call them out.
Well, I really believe in the Russian Polish method. They're more up with the vertical hips. You know, the Chinese are all real short people, so they're more horizontal hip oriented. But I would say that my background has been pretty much with the Polish and the Russian methodology. So I have a saying, like one of my cues is hips up, bar up, hips out, bar out. So the bar wouldn't stay with, in my methodology, you know, I really have to get my athletes to drive full foot against the ground so that their hips will go vertical. And the reason I want the hips to go vertical is that the bar path will be kept in the, what I call the area of the base, which is the feet. And it makes for a much straighter pull, and it keeps the bar in the least line of resistance. Where the more horizontal lifter or the catapult lifter takes the bar outside that least line of resistance, in my opinion, and it just doesn't make it as more as efficient.
So from all the people trying to do the catapult method, because it looks cool if they see it in videos, how big is the percentage of people that actually do it right and shoot the bar up instead of away from them, in your opinion?
With my methodology, if they don't keep the bar up, if the bar doesn't go up with the hips going up, then I don't let them go up in weight. So if an athlete comes to me and we're working on that bar path, and that athlete is bringing the bar into the hips and he's banging it outside that least line of resistance, then I don't let him go up. Now, if an athlete is able to use a catapult method and then keep that bar in the least line of resistance as it's going up, then I don't change him, because that bar is going to be nice and close to his body. It's going to be a very efficient pull, but I don't find that very often. What I find is the athletes that use the catapult method have a tendency to bring the bar outside that base, and the bar ends up swinging. And what I do with them is I will take a barbell and put them in their hands and make them do an upright row with the barbell. So they're up like this. And then I'll slowly have them take the bar away from their body. So the farther away the bar gets, and it gets very inefficient for them to hold that barbell up there. So right away, it gives them an idea of like, oh my God, I need to keep that bar closer to my body as I'm going underneath it. Otherwise, the bar is going to swing away from me. And then you've got a 40% chance of making it if it swings away.
You pretty much, hopefully, get all the respect from the people that you train, that they believe you when you tell them which way to use and whatnot. But how do you control people's ego without like disencouraging them? When they keep adding weight, they always want to go heavier, but their technique just takes a beating.
I don't coach them. If they're not going to listen to me, I'm not going to coach them. They can come and lift at my gym. And I don't know if you guys know Donnie Schenkel. You ever heard of Donnie Schenkel? I don't know if you guys have ever heard of him or not, but Donnie Schenkel was a pretty good lifter. He snatched 170 and clean and jerk 205, I think. Anyway, he was a Marine. And when he got out of the Marine Corps, he wanted to come to my gym and train. And so I let him come into the gym and I started working with him. Well, he didn't want me to coach him at all. He didn't want me to work. He didn't want to listen to what I had to say. So I just respectfully said, okay, you're on your own. You're welcome to come to my gym, but I'm not going to coach you. So if you go to a weightlifting contest, you're on your own. I'm not coaching you. About 3 weeks later, because he's now watching me coach the other people. About 3 weeks later, he came to me and said, will you coach me? So, in my world, if an athlete wants to be coached with me, they're going to listen to what I say. And if they're not going to listen to what I say, then I don't need to be coaching them, period. So I'm lucky I have my own gym. I don't charge anybody anything. So if they're not going to do it my way, then, they can still come and enjoy the gym. They can do the workout that I put on the board for some of those guys. But I'm not gonna beat my head against the wall trying to get them to do something that they may not believe in.
And then Zach is asking, since we're all on lockdown and we don't, or most of us don't have access to a good workout room with platforms or anything like that, we're training at the house. And so I'm guessing that people have a barbell and some plates at the house, but they can't work on their maxes because they're going to fail and they're going to ruin the floors and everything. What would be good accessory work, I guess, to improve technique on clean and jerking? And
Okay. Do I have any volunteers here that wants to put a barbell on their back?
well, Zach, you asked the question. I know
No, I'm just listen because I want you guys
I just have to go to the other room if you want me to. I can get the bar.
No, I'm afraid you would hate me after I made you do this, Zach. So here's what I do with those athletes. You heard me talk about the junkyard dog. So the junkyard dog, does anybody here not know what the junkyard dog is? Okay, so all right, so Google it if you get a chance, because it's a pretty, you have to have two people though to do the junkyard dog. It's a jumping exercise, and I do it more for the jumping, but the mental toughness aspect of it as well. So, but if I'm in a situation like Zach, and he's at CrossFit Liberty, and he doesn't have a gym to go to now, but he's got a PVC pipe, and he's got a training bar, and he's got a light bar, this is what I'm going to have Zach do. He's going to take the barbell, put it on his back, or the PVC pipe, put it on his back, and I'm going to have him squat down to CrossFit standard. That's the hip below the knee, right? That's the CrossFit standard. And then when he comes up, as he comes up, I'm going to have him jump to extension. But he's only going to come off the ground about 3 or 4 millimeters, not much at all. So he's going to squat down, jump to extension. He's not going to jump with his hips back. He's going to jump to full extension, but he's only going to come off the ground, 2 or 3 millimeters. And he's going to continue to do this for 60 seconds. And he has to get 60 reps in 60 seconds, right? And then once he's able to get 60 reps in 60 seconds, then I'm going to take the PVC pipe, I'm going to fill it with sand. And I'm going to cap it. I'm going to make it a little bit heavier. Then he's going to do the same thing, right? 60 reps in 60 seconds. And then finally, he's going to build up to the barbell. When he can do 60 reps in 60 seconds with that 20-kilo bar, he is a he-man. But the fitness that he gets from that and the explosiveness that he gets to that translates over into the Olympic lifts, and it will really help him when he comes back to the gym. He'll be explosive. He'll be fit. It'll be amazing. Because in my world, a snatch is nothing more than a jump. A clean is nothing more than a jump. A jerk is nothing more than a jump. There's a whole lot of other things that come in that, but you have to explode. You got to create acceleration and elevation on that barbell through the legs. And when I do that jumping drill with the 60 seconds, it's amazing the transformation that takes place. Now, the other thing that works with that is after he does 60 seconds with the PVC pipe, he will rest for 3 minutes. And we'll try to reduce the rest periods, but then he will sit down on the ground and he'll be in an L sit. His legs are straight, his torso's upright, and he has the PVC pipe on the front. And he'll press the PVC pipe, keeping his knees against the ground. He will press the PVC pipe 60 times in 60 seconds. Now he'll make that. He'll get that pretty easy. But that works that upper thoracic area so that when I go to get a heavy clean and I rack that weight, I'm not going to be crumpled forward. It's going to really train that upper thoracic and that mid-thoracic area that I need to be working on. It's going to make me strong. So I'm going to do those two things for sure. I'm going to warm up. The next thing I'm going to do jumping squats, and I'm going to do those seated presses. I'm going to work up to 60 seconds, 60 reps in 60 seconds, and then I'm going to take it up. No heavier ever than a 20-kilo bar for men and 15-kilo bar for women. And if you do that, I want you to do it. Send me videos and time yourself And I will promise you, you'll think I'm the greatest coach in the world because it's really going to affect you in a very positive manner.
Then we have a great question from Jan from CrossFit 20. He knows you because you taught seminars at his place too, in the Netherlands. And he says, I see a lot of athletes finishing on the toes. Should we all try to just stay in our heels as long as possible and hang back a little more in our lift?
Well, that's a great question, because in reality, what I'm looking for is I'm looking for balance in the feet, through the feet. So I want equal pressure on the big toe, the little toe, and the heel, all the way through the pattern until the very end. So if I'm in that good down position, that good power position where I'm straight up and down and slightly bent at the knees and the hips back, I want my feet to be equally pressured against the ground. And as I continue to drive with my legs, my feet through the ground, as I continue to drive, I'm going to stay flat-footed as long as I can, but that drive will take me to the balls of my feet. I don't want to go there until the absolute last moment. I want to continue to drive flat-footed as long as I can. And in my experience, that gives me a very positive feeling of what I call a combined center of gravity with the barbell and my body. If I have a tendency to go to my balls of my feet too soon, the bar pulls me forward. That foot action pulls me forward. And so the combined center of gravity is now out of whack, and it's not balanced out. So I want to stay in that good combined center of gravity in a positive atmosphere. And my finish then, if my head's going that way, is not going to be straight up and down like this. It's going to be slightly back, because now I need to pull myself down and around that object and then go to the bar. I don't go to the ground. I don't go to the hole. I go to the bar from that position. So I found that if I have equal footing on the ground, I'm basically balanced through my feet all the way through that pull until the very end, that it allows me to get into that good top finish position with vertical hips and then with the bar going upwards.
Okay, and taking it from the feet back up to the shoulders. After surgery, dislocated shoulders, all this, most people struggling with getting stability, but at the same time not losing their mobility to get into the right positions. Any advice of like how to work on this?
Yeah, just what we talked about. I think, for me, stretching is just stretching by itself. Obviously, it's a very positive thing. I need to do more of that myself. But I believe in working mobility under tension. So in other words, I've got an issue with my shoulder now. Obviously, I don't want to, if I can hold a PVC pipe over my head in a good position, that's a start. That's where I want to go to. And then from that position, I only want to squat down maybe that far. As long as I can hold that good position by squatting down this far, then I'm going to stretch in that good position. And then I'm going to go down that far. And I'm going to continue to go down farther and farther and farther. If I lose that position, then I'm going to come back up. I'm not going to allow my athlete to go down to the bottom position with bad positioning. They're only going to go down to a position where they maintain that good upright torso position, where the bar is centered in that frontal plane. That's what I'm after. So whatever it takes me to get to there, positive, stretch there, hold it there, and then go down a little bit farther. And if you don't hit that position, come back up and go to that position where you need to be and where you're doing it the right way. And then spend that time getting better, 1 millimeter at a time. It just takes it. It is hard work. But if you're willing to put in the hard work, you will get it back. But it does take time. Some people it takes weeks, other people it takes months, and some people it takes a year. It just depends on you.
All right. So far we have answered all the questions. We've already taken 1 hour of your time. So I would call for any last pressing questions. Last chance. People sit up straight, move closer to their computers.
I will stay here all day if you want me to.
It's your chance, guys. Send in those questions.
Where's Jan? I can't see him.
He's owning that church in the Netherlands. That
I
was,
know, yeah. I want to see his
Yeah.
picture because Jan and I go back. Jan and I are good buddies. I really like that guy.
Jan, unmute yourself and talk. so
Yes,
you
I'm
come-
here.
Yeah, there you go.
Ah,
Coach.
you were lucky you weren't on there when I saw you before, because I would have really given him a hard time.
Yeah, I was
You
invited
are-
by
Jan-
Lisa.
Jan tried to teach me how to throw an axe.
Yeah,
Remember that?
yeah. The horrible axe with 2 blades. Right. Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you what, that was one of my favorite trips of all time, Jan.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't been to CrossFit 20, go over there because that was awesome. I really enjoyed that.
You're still eating a T-bone steak every day, Coach?
No, not as much anymore, but if I could afford it, I would. I need to go out and kill me a moose or something and bring that meat back into my freezer.
Yeah. No, when Coach B was in the Netherlands, we ate very often in the restaurant, and every day he ordered a T-bone steak in the restaurant. So.
And we drank Zolch beer, right?
Yeah, Grols.
Right. That was, and I loved it because my grandmother's from the Netherlands, and I couldn't believe the amount of bicycles there, and I just loved it. It was a beautiful place, and Jan really treated me right. He and his wife were really great hosts, and I really enjoyed myself there.
Yeah, enjoyed your course as well and your company.
Thanks, Jan.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of history here. I think Jan and my husband got their level 1 together in 2009.
Yeah.
And then I went to Twente to get my level 1 in 2013. Jan came to our box to teach rowing seminars. So
Yep.
When this lockdown is over, we're all going to go to church.
Yeah, no kidding. That's right.
Yeah, probably I'm the only one who's not in a lockdown because Germany is everything shut. In the Netherlands, the gyms are open. So we're lucky.
Yeah, seriously. Well, I got to get back over there, Jan. I tell you, that was a beautiful time.
Yeah. I'll still have to come over to do a geyser workout with you.
Oh, geez. My geezers are amazing. These guys are something else.
Okay.
There are a few more questions. Like, how did you know that coaching was your life purpose?
My dad said to me when I was in high school, he said, "You should be a coach." And I laughed at him. I said, "You got to be kidding me. No one's going to listen to me," because I was a handful. I was pretty ornery as a kid. And so after I got out of the military, one of my very first jobs out of the military was coaching. And, so it was just natural for me. After being in the military and learning how to be a platoon commander, a company commander, and commander of leading troops, it was easy for me to make that transition over to working with kids. So it was natural. It was just one of those things that Dad knew best. He knew I was going to be a good coach because I was very passionate. If I liked something, I was very passionate about it. And if I didn't like something, I was very passionate not to like it.
And then there are several questions about if you're coming back to Germany, Europe, teaching seminars. I guess you don't have a choice now.
Well, you know what? The best thing that I would tell you is that CrossFit weightlifting was my business. Mike's gym was my business. And so when CrossFit went over to to do away with the the SMEs, and we went to Burgener Strength. Burgener Strength is owned by my son Bo, who's the guy in Portugal. And I would tell you, if you want me to come over to Europe, contact Bo at burgenerstrength.com and tell him you want me to come over there. And if there's enough of an interest, if we got, for him it's about paying the expenses. If he says, hey, you got to have 25 or 30 people to get my dad over here because he's got to fly over from California, then get 25 or 30 people over and I'd come for sure.
Good. I think you already have like 74 in this call.
I'm sorry?
You already have like 74 people in this call that would come. So
well,
we'll make it happen.
I would be there for sure.
Good. And then Jan will come down here. Or we all go to church to lift weights.
Absolutely.
Maybe even better. And then Jochen wants to know more about your gym. You already told us it's 4 platforms in a small space. Yeah,
I don't know if I could take my computer out there or not. I probably would lose you. But I would take you out there. I mean, a lot of times on Sundays, I'll get up and, and I'll do a Instagram live feed. People will ask me questions. And, a lot of times people are very curious about the gym. And so, we can say, you want me to try to see if I can take you guys out there?
Sure.
Let me see if I can. Hold on. I'm going to unplug this. If I lose you, then we'll have to somehow get back together. But hopefully I'll be able to do this. Let's see here. You may hear some grandkids. Just a second. Hey, Charlie, hold on. Potch is out here. Okay, I don't know how I can. Okay, I have a laptop. So how can I turn this screen around? Is there anybody that can tell me how to do that?
You're just going to have to rotate yourself.
Okay. All right, so this is, I don't know what you guys can see. Uh-oh.
You're still there. You're still there.
Okay, I am. All right, hold on. Something came up here. All right, so this is the way I'll hold it. Can you guys see that at all?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'm walking back. There you see my new pup. That's Piper. So when people come up, you see the Mike's Gym sign right above. And then you see the 4 platforms. There's 2 over here. And then there's 2 over here. And then I'll go ahead and walk in a little bit. If I'm boring you guys too, just tell me and I'll stop. There's all my bars. There's our record board, and then all the shoes that people have basically left that have used to train here. There's my daughter-in-law, Natalie, that 2008 Olympian. There's the posters of the Burgener warm-up. And then over here, this is kind of interesting. This is, these are all visitors that have come to Mike's Gym that I've had them sign my flag. And then of course I have all the posters here. I don't know if you guys can see them or not, but. And then there's my coach, the old guy doing the old lifts. That was Father Lang. And just various stuff. Here's one of my favorite lifters, Norik Vardanian, and I keep this up on my wall so that you can see how close the bar path is. And then there's there's how we write our workouts on that wall. Then you'll notice I'm a very visual learner, so I have posters everywhere. So, I have posters here. So I like to refer to posters a lot. And then
You guys still with me?
Yep.
Totally.
Okay, good. Looking out, that's what you see. And then outside, this is more, I have the, all the concept 2 stuff, medicine balls, ski ergs, basic stuff. I don't think I can go much far.
Yeah, you should go back.
We're losing you.
Okay. All right, I'm going back in.
Yep.
All right, you got me back?
Yep.
All right, good. Yeah, I knew I'd probably lose you there for a second, but yeah, that's basically Mike's gym. I'm going to go back in my office there. And look at this. These are, just to let you know, these are my grandkids and my wife.
Hello.
Hello.
From Europe.
Oh, nice. They're making a gingerbread house.
Hi. Amen.
Oh, I love sharing my family with everybody because we're so awesome.
So did your gym get damaged by the fires a few years ago?
Yes, December 17th or December 7th, 3 years ago, 2017. We lost a lot of property out in front, which I couldn't take you to see, but we lost a couple sleeping areas outside in the front. The pool had a major damage to it. The house didn't burn, but it had major smoke damage. But you know what? Because of that woman in there, she rebuilt it. She's like a saint. Don't tell her I said that though. And she's like a saint, right? She does all the stuff that I don't want to do. And so she rebuilt this whole thing and just made it better.
Good to have a saint. Lawrence asked where we could buy the Burgener warm-up posters for our boxes, and I just Googled it real quick, and there's like a ton of places where you can get them. Is there any preferred place where, I don't know, that you want to support with?
No, you know what, people, everything that I have, I've gotten from somebody else. And so,
okay,
we just give it out, just anybody that wants to make a poster can make a poster. It's fine. We don't, enjoy it and then, enjoy the information.
All right, so if anybody wants to get that poster, I think if you just Google it, you find the orange one that we just saw in the video. And hang it, because everybody should do it. And while you're at it, look up the junkyard dog. We actually do it in fundamentals on day 1 so that people loosen up and get to know each other. If you crawl under somebody and jump over, you probably know that person after.
Amen. That's the truth. And it's an attitude thing more than anything else. I think Olympic lifters have to be aggressive. They have to not be afraid. And, so the junkyard dog really, really allows them to feel that. But I think, my COVID junkyard dog is that jumping squat and that seated press. And I'm telling you, that thing's effective. I challenge every one of you guys to do that COVID junkyard dog and that seated press for 30 days, as well as the Burgener warm-up and the skill transfer exercises for 30 days and 3 position snatch, one from the high hang, mid thigh and ground, just using a PVC pipe. Do that for 30 days and tell me you don't improve.
We'll make them do that.
I think it's a good indicator because 30 days isn't that long. It may seem like when you're doing those jumping squats, it may seem like it's a long time, but nevertheless, it's the progress is really, really effective.
All right, Torben just posted the link to the online classes. If somebody doesn't want to wait until we bring you over. to Germany or the church or wherever. They can get started online.
Well, the online classes are effective, and Bo does a good job. Bo and Sophie typically are the ones that are leading them. And Sophie, if you haven't seen her, she's a knockout. She's really got the mobility down. She's really good at what she does. Excellent coach.
Yes, she's also one of the reasons why most of the younger coaches are participating at the Burgener online courses itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And maybe also one of the reasons why it should make sense just to go for the online course now.
Well, Jan, Sophie she was over there at your place, wasn't she?
You're still muted.
Yeah. Yeah, she was at our place. Yeah.
Yeah, she was with John.
She was really good. I mean, I think there were only guys, but she really had them under the thumb. It was really good.
Yeah, she's really a good coach.
Yeah,
and she's not afraid to get in your face either. She'll let you know what you're doing right or wrong.
Yeah, that's right.
Cool. If there are no more questions, Lisa, let's wrap it up.
Yeah.
Dear Mr. Burgener, thank you very much for your time. It was awesome.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
I guess it was a fantastic experience. Also, I mean, it shows also that also an online class or online seminar like today can be more than efficient. Thank you for sharing all your experiences. I guess it was a very cool experience for all of us. Just to know you a little bit better, to know your family, just to know your place, because it was on my schedule, but it's not possible just to come now. So it was a cool opportunity. So I guess now it's time for all of us just to unmute for a second and just to clap all together, guys. Please all unmute. I will also change the way here. Dominic is missing. Nils is missing. Cindy is missing. Katja Beckman, please unmute. Rika, please unmute. And then we just start with clap. Thank you, Coach.
Hey, thanks, Coach.
Great. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing your time with us.
Right. And don't hesitate to contact me if I can be of help to any of you guys.
You are awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much. Very informative.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Auf Wiedersehen.
Obrigado.
Yeah, Mike, thank you again. It was really cool.
Good. I'm glad you liked it. I hope I was helpful to all of them. And, let me know how I can help you guys.
I guess it was very helpful. What would the other guys say? Dennis, Lawrence, Jens, what do you think?
Awesome. I just did Burgener seminar 2 months ago, and it was awesome. And now, a dream come true to see you live.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it is. It's really cool, guys.
Hopefully it gives everybody a little bit of motivation to just keep training through this and not like just sit on the couch and get depressed.
Oh yeah. Now you can't, this is beyond our control. The only thing we can do is do what we do and do what we do best.
Yeah, and we don't know if everybody else is taking a break, so we have to keep working to not lose track of it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Thank you very much for answering all those questions. It was very, very helpful.
You're welcome. And if you guys think got any more questions, just drop me an email and I'll get back to you.
Cool. So thank you, and say also hello to Sage and to Bo and to Mickey. He maybe remember me, maybe the Italian guy.
Okay.
Cool. Good. Nice, guys.
All right, guys. Jan, good seeing you, Jan.
Yep. Nice to see you again.
Keep
Yeah,
in touch, guys. Thanks a
we
lot
will.
for everything.
Jan, I thought you were an old man, but you are young as hell.
Yes, I'm
Lisa
young.
told me there's an old guy there from
I'm younger than Coach B, so
yeah.
I did not say anything.
You did.
Ann and I look at we're alike.
On your scale, I'm a geezer now. So you're a super geezer, or what is it?
No, I'm a super stud geezer.
Oh God. Oh yeah. But
Next
still,
year, I'm going to be a golden geezer. I'll be
Oh,
75, so I'm a golden geezer. But right now, I'll just have to live with being a super stud geezer.
Yeah. Well, now you have another president. I might visit the United States as well. So
Again,
I could come
Yeah,
over to Mike's gym now.
Yeah, you need to get over here. That's right.
Yeah.
We have also somebody here. She is not snatching, but she's back squatting. I saw the pictures today, 180 or 190 kilograms, Mike. Can you believe that?
Who?
Annette is
That's me. Hi.
Annette?
Yes.
farmer's walk with 200 and how was it? How much was it?
210, but it's 105 each hand. I was, before I started CrossFit, I was a power lifter, European champion in powerlifting. I pulled 190 and squatted 180. And I'm the strongest woman of Germany 2 times and 3rd strongest woman on the world, 2011.
Well, Annette, are you up for adoption?
Yes, I'm free. My dad is not available anymore, so I come over.
All right, for sure. Boy, oh boy, that's awesome, Annette.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, congratulations.
But now I try to be a CrossFitter. It's hard work. Whoa.
Oh.
And yes,
Yeah,
we also
I'm a geezer CrossFitter. There's a big difference, but it's still CrossFit.
studying together every day at 10 o'clock. We meet. There's a group of people just meeting and we just try to get better at CrossFit and all their methodology. I can't say the word methodology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, for us, like, you know what Sindy is, the Sindy workout, 5, 10, 15. So in our world with the geezers, we have athletes can't do, I mean, my guys come here, they can't do pull-ups. So I have them do 5 of something else. Maybe they do 5 deadlifts with body weight or something like that. And then maybe 10 push-ups and 15 squats where they sit down to a chair and stand back up. But you still do that for 20 minutes, it still kicks your butt. You know, so that's geezer CrossFit. So instead of doing 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, and 15 squats, they'll select whatever exercises they can do for that particular individual. And it works out really well for them.
Yeah. But the goal is to learn CrossFit also.
Right. Well, my gym is, you saw it, it's small and it's just a 2-car garage, but I've had, let me think here. So we ran a camp at this gym one time with 25 people. So the platforms were full for sure.
Awesome place to do that.
Yeah.
I was now so brutal just to put those people in the waiting area who were without video, because I think that's rude just to be in a group like this and just being without a video. Yeah.
Got the message, they're leaving.
They
got the message, they're leaving.
Yeah. Yeah. This is yeah. I was also a little bit what you told us about Glassman, that he's so hard. I guess this was interesting.
Yeah, I haven't seen him, you know, since all this stuff blew up with CrossFit. I haven't seen him, and I don't anticipate seeing him for a long time. I don't see him being there. I don't know anything about the new owner. I do stay in touch with Dave Castro. He and I are friends. You know, he lives about 500 miles away from us, and so I could go up and visit him anytime. But for the most part, we're aligning ourselves mostly with CrossFit Mayhem. and doing a lot of work with the programming under their banner. So it's called Mayhem Burgener Strength. So we write the programs for the people that want to go into that route of more Olympic style weightlifting type stuff.
I don't know what the others are thinking, but I think it would really make sense just to, as CrossFit itself, just to bring this system back, especially with in these two areas, because they take part of the whole CrossFit system. I mean, weightlifting and gymnastics, just to source them out was not the maximum idea, is what I would say. So just bring it back and just make it part of the CrossFit system again. So we have a meeting. We have a meeting by the end of the year with some guys from CrossFit. We all together, and we probably would just also put their pressure on these guys just to say that again. Just bring these please back to the normal CrossFit system.
Do you guys remember an athlete by the name of Greg Everett or Josh Everett? Yeah, that was a long time ago. Well, Josh was he was an Olympic weightlifter of mine. He was a national competitor. And so when Glassman came down to my gym, we competed Glassman or Josh Everett with Greg Amundsen. Those two guys went head to head. And this was like, again, 2004. And the only training that Josh had was Olympic weightlifting. You know, he didn't have all the other stuff. So when they at lunchtime, they had their big contest where they did Fran, and Greg and Josh went head to head, and Josh beat him. And Greg had been doing Glassman's programming, but Josh had been doing nothing but my programming of Olympic lifting. And he still kicked his butt. So your idea that the Olympic lifts, you know, and the gymnastics, you do those two things and you train for those two things, you can probably go in and do a pretty good job in the CrossFit arena. And, you know, Matt Frazier was an Olympic weightlifter before he was a CrossFitter. And Tia represented Australia in the Olympic Games in weightlifting. So those guys have that Olympic lifting background for sure.
Yeah, we also had a very good athlete here, Lisa. Lisa was her name, yes. She was also on took part at the games in 2018, I guess. And she also started as a gymnast, and then she switched to weightlifting, and she's really crushing everything.
Yeah,
especially here in Germany. She's a very, very good athlete. But again, I think just to split it, or just to divide these two systems, or just to how can I say, just not having them as a part of the CrossFit system anymore is a big mistake.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens. I've emailed the new owner, and I've talked to him a little bit, and he's been very positive. Yes, but I don't know if they'll have an opportunity to want to bring us back as the, you know, CrossFit weightlifting. They may bring somebody else in, but you know, we're open to anything. You know, we just want to be a positive aspect of CrossFit and you know, the fitness community.
Coach, I have one more question, if I may. I had the pleasure to train in Mexico for a couple of years, and there's a pretty famous coach. He's called Nacho Fuentes. He was the coach of Soraya Jimenez, the first gold medalist, the female gold medalist. Do you know her, and do you know her story?
I think I know her. I've seen her compete. I don't know her story, and I may know that coach because I've been down to Mexico at the world level, team level before, and I've seen all their coaches down there, but I haven't been able to correspond with them and know them personally.
Okay. Thank you.
So what is your plan for today, Mike? What else are you doing?
Probably going to take my pup and take her and start, I train her. So I do a lot of, every morning I take her out into the fields and do some dog work with her. And so later on today, I'll take her over to the beach and do some work with her over there. So she's a what they call a golden doodle. She's a 3/4 standard poodle and a 1/4 golden retriever. And she's a water dog.
Mike heeft toch een golden doodle.
Excellent nose, and she's a good girl. She's only 8 months old and weighs 25 kilos now. So she's not going to get much bigger, but she's a good girl. So since all my kids are gone, and we do get our grandkids in here a little bit, if Sage is out of town, but so she's my new effort. I spend a lot of time with her.
Does she lift?
No, that's funny, Lisa. When she was about 3 months old, I had her doing burpees. She could do a burpee. Now, she couldn't do it now, but at 3 months, I spent a lot of time getting her to jump up. And, I'd go down on my chest, and then I would jump up, and then she would jump up right after that.
Yeah, I have a crazy dog like that. He also does jujitsu with my husband, and it's getting down and dirty.
Well, I swore I'd never let a dog be on my furniture, but she doesn't spread. She doesn't shed. So she's all over the daggum place. She sleeps in she doesn't sleep with us, but she sleeps in the same room with us. And we do have her crate trained. So I keep her in a crate at night. And then I'm up at about 6 o'clock in the morning and I take her out. But yeah, she's definitely my dog.
Where's Sage now?
Sage right now is over in Arizona at a CrossFit competition.
Okay, because
she left Wednesday. That's why we have the grandkids right now. She left Wednesday and she'll be back home on Sunday.
Okay. Oh, that means Mickey is with you. Yeah.
Yeah, they like the grandkids like Nana. Nana spoils them. Okay. Potch is a little bit tougher.
Okay. Cool. Björn, is the Björn from us in the waiting room? Now the good questions are coming. Björn, wenn du teilnehmen möchtest, Licht an, sonst nehmen wir dich gleich wieder raus. I said it in German, so he understands me. Let's see. No? Stubborn?
You know, if they don't listen, you can't coach them.
Yes, it is like that. Ja. Ja. Möchte noch jemand? Das ist die Chance, meine Herrschaften. Eine Legende. I guess we just, wie sagt man, überreizt seine Zeit auch schon fast, oder?
Yeah, I guess we let you get back to your dog and the grandkids.
Thank you. I mean,
all right. Well, listen, you guys, thanks a lot for having me on. I appreciate it. And, like I said, if anything I can help you with, just don't hesitate to drop me an email.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right. Take care, guys.
For your time.
Thanks,
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Wiedersehen. Tschüss.
Ciao, ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, wir sehen uns.
Ciao. Und? Sind es immer die gleichen, die hängen bleiben?
Ja.
Immer sind das die
Wenn wir
gleichen.
Tschüss sagen, dann bleiben doch noch überall in der Gruppe da.
Ja,
vielen Dank für alles und danke für die Organisation, das war echt cool.
Ja, war schön.
Ja, schön, dass ihr dabei wart.
Dankeschön, ja, danke für die Chance. Wahnsinn. Haben mir reichlich mitgeschrieben.
Sehr gut. Ich teste das dann alles.
Ja, genau.
Videos direkt an mich. 60 Sekunden.
Ja, und hoffentlich könnt ihr auch
vielleicht baust du das bei uns
kurze
in den
Zeit
Warm-Ups
wieder
mit auf.
öffnen. Ne?
Aber mit dem Burgener Warm-Up und sowas. Das wäre mal cool, das zu sehen, was das genau ist und wie das funktioniert. Das wäre echt cool.
Das machen wir ganz viel. Wir nennen nur die einzelnen Übungen.
Ah, okay, super. Alles klar. Cool. Bis bald. Ciao.
Ciao, ciao.
Ciao, ciao, Sebastian. Ja.
Hoffentlich könnt ihr auch bald wieder offen.
Ja, das glaube ich. Wir hoffen es auch alle, aber es ist leider nicht realistisch.
Nee, nee. Ja, nicht, dass die Zahlen hier in den Niederlanden besser sind, aber wir haben nur in diesem Frühling, März, April haben wir zugemacht, aber dann dürfen wir wieder draußen arbeiten und seit 1. Juli wieder in der Box selber und wir haben jetzt nicht geschlossen. Also ja, das haben wir aber Glück und